Hallo aus Deutschland. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Fat Mascara. It's Jen.
Hey, it's Jess. How's it going over there?
It's good. Ich habe alles nicht gegessen. Ich habe alles nicht gesehen nach. Yeah? No. Nein. I'm practicing. I messed it up the first time. I haven't seen Atlas yet. We literally just landed.
I have no idea if you said, I have no idea what you said.
I said I haven't seen my stepson yet because we literally just landed.
Oh, that was good. That was a lot of info. I thought it was like just a vague greeting. No, that was a lot of information packed in there.
Hello was my greeting, and then I gave you a little verb conjunction just to try it out on you.
Oh my God.
And I screwed it up, but I do what I can. I'm so excited to be here. I'm here for just a couple days.
How's the weather?
Much cooler than it is in New York City, I hear. You're having a heat wave. But it's exciting. However, I need your advice on something beauty related. Like, do I need to go on the scavenger hunt? So I got this week a press release about the tie-in sometimes that publicists make to like whatever is happening in the culture. I'm always like, you go girl, and tie that in.
It's hard work. I know always got to make something new and fresh.
So
yeah,
I thought this was funny. There's a series on Disney, which I have not watched yet, but I really do want to, Becoming Karl Lagerfeld, right? Like about how he became the designer he is. As you may or may not know, he's German. I know you know, but whoever our listeners don't know.
The Kaiser.
Yeah. So throughout his life, he always had opinions. Kind of got to love him for that. He was never, ever going to get neurotoxins, fillers, which is hilarious to me. He says he's a quote unquote natural beauty, but the man had like powdered wigs and he wasn't a natural beauty. But this company, it's a German company. They make this thing called Biotulin Supreme Skin Gel. Apparently, he used this product. The Spanish magazine Mujeres was talking about it, and they linked to an old article where he mentioned that he doesn't do fillers and toxins. This kind of like, quote unquote, Botox in a bottle was Karl's face serum.
Did you get it?
So, I just landed. So I'm like,
go get it.
Should I go looking for the Biotulin Supreme Skin Gel? Just for I feel like I need to, right? I hadn't heard of this brand.
Absolutely. Expensive. Put it on the FM card.
It's also like black and silver. Part of me is like, I feel like he liked it because it was like German looking and probably went with the Chanel like oeuvre of their whole colors and things. But I'm going to go to the Apotheca and see if I can find it.
I have a confession which will show you just how damaging the early aughts were. But when I was in college, I bought the Karl Lagerfeld diet book and read it in like a sitting because it's very short.
Do you remember the title?
Yeah, it was called the Karl Lagerfeld Diet. You can get it on Amazon, I'm sure.
I was waiting for some really great, catchy title. You're like, yeah,
no. I'm not going to look it up right now.
It's just a Diet Coke and 6 stalks of celery a day.
No, it's a ton of Diet Coke, which I was like, done, easy. The Karl Lagerfeld Diet, how much is it selling for now? I'm sure it's not expensive. Oh my God. It's not a fortune, but it would have been worth hanging on to. Thrift Books is $68.79 used. For some reason, at one retailer, it's almost $150. Wow. I get rid of things very quickly.
I know, but leafing back through that, it might have been triggering, but it also might have been really eye-opening.
Triggering might be too a bit strong, but I remember one line, which I was like, he's a very problematic character. I'm sure a lot of people listening to this may be like, oh, I don't like him because of this. And some people might be like, Karl, I love you. Like, everyone has an opinion. It's like a Rorschach test, Karl Lagerfeld. But he said one line that I was like, I feel seen. He was like, I go to sleep at night dreaming of breakfast. And that's me.
I sometimes do. I actually go to sleep dreaming of coffee sometimes.
Okay, so. Yeah. It's like a wanting, a desire for something like tasty when you wake up. It's a sensation, a fuel.
Or else he was just hungry all the time.
I think part of it, and this is like how demented it was, trigger warning, was trigger warning for people with eating issues. You have my heart. He was going to bed hungry.
Yeah.
To achieve the physique he so desired.
And then he wrote a book about it.
Yes. So anyway, I hope that now.
Well, I'll keep an eye out for the book as well. Maybe I could get the
skin gel
for you. Yeah, I'm going to get the Biotulin Supreme Skin Gel, see what he was doing. What are you going to do while I'm in Germany? How was your week?
It was busy. It's the end of the week right now. I bopped around. I went to 2 beauty conferences this week. I went to Beauty Independence at it Live, which is formally, to a lot of our Fat Mascara listeners who have been with us, you might remember the Indie Beauty Expo from years gone by. It has kind of reinvented itself as at it. And that was cool. I got to see a lot of indie brands. Always love to know what's big on the scene. I saw Nodder, who runs the whole thing. He's fabulous, knows everything about the industry, has such a good perspective on like where it's going. So that was fun.
Wait, I have a question for you. When you go to these things now, do you have an eye open for moda? Like, are you always like, what could someday maybe be? Like,
For
are you
moda,
shopping,
but I just like
or just what's in the know?
for Fat Mascara, for
Well,
moda.
of course, that's part of your job too. But like, you can take action now if you see a growing indie that seems really cool and luxe and right for your customer down the line, right?
But I also just like to know what's happening in the industry. Like, is it all about
You're a market mover, Madeline.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I go around, I'm just learning. You have the ability to make or break a brand.
I like to know what's going on. But personally, I also I went around with Candace, who is our senior buyer, and she kind of smiled at me because I was like, I found this brand. It was like a kind of Japanime brand. It was like face sheets with like this little mascot named Kirby, who was like a Nintendo character.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still love cutesy pie things. That's not for moda. That's for me. So, and then I went to the Beauty Matter conference, and that was really cool. They always have a lot of really like pertinent talks
On the main stage, fireside chats.
Yeah. Like they always have like talks that are really, really good. And 2 talks that I knew that our audience would really love. I kind of wish I could have bootlegged them for our listeners, which I would not do, but they were really good. One was about the future of fragrance, and that was really cool. And just like one takeaway I loved. And Beauty Matter has a lot of it. The audience and the audience who goes there are brands, like brand founders, executives, etc. They had this guy, Harry Richards, and he's an investment director from Manzanita. Manzanita, they just bought Diaz and Durga. They've been involved with tons of big fragrance brands, Byredo. Something he said was interesting. He's like, everyone is very excited about fragrance right now. And like, it seems like this really hot category. He's like, but it is very difficult to scale. There is not a lot of repeat purchase. It is expensive. It is still like, we're like fragrance talk. Fragrance is huge online. And by the way, I'm saying this as a huge champion of the category, but in no way am I saying, oh guys, it's not that. He was just saying like, it's a credit to the people who are making it. It is so hard because
Business-wise.
Yeah, because it's not popping off on social like anywhere near the way that skincare or makeup has. It is just like such a steep mountain to climb. So hearing him say that was very interesting.
Especially the more we collect and people are collecting and might have a signature scent, the much slower they go through perfume. You could buy a new lip gloss replenishment every month, but that perfume, especially if you have a big collection.
Yeah, and the space it takes up in your house, if you live in an apartment. Funny you said signature scent. Basically everyone on that stage, but especially Harry, he was like, the signature scent, like that is over. He's like, nobody has a signature scent anymore. So I feel like, Jen, how many of those stories did you write when you were an editor? Like a younger editor, like...
Well, not signature scent. I remember writing a story about fragrance wardrobe. You see where I was taking the fashion analogy? I thought I was so clever. But it was all about like the signature scent is over. You need a wardrobe of fragrances like for different, whatever.
And then they also had this woman, Bettina O'Neill. Some of you probably listening to this are like nodding, like knowing exactly who she is because she was worked at Barney's in the heyday. She was like the head of all fragrance and beauty. She now is the SVP at biz development and merchant wholesale at Scentbird. So she took everything she learned there, or say learned, I mean, that did there. And she is really bringing like fragrance discovery to so many people. And Scentbird, I don't think I realized just how huge it is. It is enormous.
Yeah.
And then I know you saw the guys from Vacation at the party, and we're going to talk about that later. But Locke from Vacation also spoke in another panel about just building a brand beyond the product. I don't want to talk about that too long, but it was about creating a 360 world. And just one thing I had to share with all of you, which I thought was amazing. Their vacation universe is so big. It's so well thought out that even their music on Zoom and like backgrounds when they're having meetings is like tropical. Their wait music or something is like the world of vacation. So
Well, I'm going to talk about now since you brought it up. At this party I went to for vacation,
yeah,
everybody got a lanyard with a business card in it.
That's funny.
And like we all had different titles, like head of puka shell development.
what was your title?
Well, so everybody who I was talking to in this group of like 8 people was like reading theirs off. So I looked down at mine and I didn't have a title. I was just like, I'm an intern.
You were intern?
No, it was just empty. I had picked by accident like an empty Rolodex card. It was like
God.
this whole thing you had to do. I met the head copywriter. She lives in Maine. I think her name was Alyssa, because she and I bonded because I was talking about this. Do you remember the movie Crazy People? It's like Dudley Moore. It's like,
Oh my God. Yeah, from like the 80s, right?
Guys, this is such an old movie. It was an old movie when I watched it, but it's basically an advertising executive on Madison Avenue in the 80s, has a mental break. He goes to a hospital for mental health where he recruits all of the fellow patients with much worse mental health disorders
so
to
funny.
be his advertising copywriters.
Oh my
so
God,
they
I
come
love this.
up with these campaigns that are so ridiculous and against the time of the 80s, but that hit a nerve with people. And it's because people who are like, not of this world and experiencing psychosis were the ones that wrote them. So I was trying to like say this line and I'm trying it out on everybody. I'm like, I must be the oldest person in this crowd. And I said, you don't remember Volvo's boxy but good? That was the tagline. That's the tagline they came up with for Volvo. And they all looked at me like I was stupid. Alyssa walks up and I was like, maybe she'll know. And I was like, Volvo's? And she looks right at me and goes, boxy but good. And I was like,
Wait, Alyssa's the copywriter or Alyssa?
Yes. And
oh
we
my God.
bonded immediately. So I was like, I found my person at this party.
Well, also, it sounds like they hired the right person.
And she's like, if you DM vacation, her scripts are like the ones that you get back that are always cheeky and cool. That brand is like from the top to the bottom. They keep it on brand.
They don't miss one detail. And that was, I don't know, I really like that. And this girl sitting next to me, like he's talking about like all their details and she like taps me. She goes, this brand is really good. And I was like, I know. I know. It's like everyone was so impressed.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was cool.
So the bootleg tapes are up on fatmascara.com if you want to listen to
Sorry, Kelly. No.
No, that's why you listen to our podcast, because you got all that information you needed. And then
Those were some of the highlights.
Piece. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool. Really great chats. I know you got a lot of news.
Yeah, let's take a quick break and then get into it.
All right, so Jen is doing the news, but I'm actually kicking it off.
We're all doing it together.
Yeah, it's kind of a hodgepodge
one
now. If
person.
you haven't
Yeah,
figured
yeah.
that out, it's a little bit of a hodgepodge.
No, we're just chatting.
All right, so guys, this one's personal. All right, the rumors are true, or kind of they were like pointing in an accurate direction. If you heard that Space NK was up for sale, well, you heard correctly.
I hadn't heard, but I also didn't work at Space NK like you, so I didn't keep up with the
There
rumor
were
mill.
whispers. There were whispers. It's not that Space NK is being sold entirely, but the U.S. wholesale arm is now sold. Now, I know that sounds so unclear, unsexy, like what the hell is going on. Stay with me. PCA companies purchased the U.S. wholesale division of Space NK. Now, who is PCA companies? It's a distributor that has like a lot of fragrance, and they also bought JVN, like Jonathan Van Ness, and Pipette, which used to be with Amorous, which last summer, like this time last year, had a big fallout. If you remember that, just Google if you don't know what I'm talking about. So they lost a lot of brands. So PCA is kind of revving up. Now, what is the U.S. wholesale division of Space NK?
Tell us, Jess.
This includes roughly 600 points of distribution inside Bloomingdale's, Nordstrom Rack, Hudson Bay. And then if you've ever walked into a Walmart and seen Space NK and been like, wait, what? I'm confused because Space NK is like a luxury retailer, in England. It has like a luxury reputation. They've actually done really interesting work with Walmart where they bring in luxury brands to kind of like bring them to a wider audience. And from what I've heard just like on the ground, That's been successful for them. So now PCA is going to own them. I don't know if the name is going to stay the same.
Wait, I'm confused. This is your world, but why is it called wholesale if those are retail distribution points that you just mentioned?
If I'm a luxury brand that's sold at Space NK in one of these Nordstroms or at Walmart, whatever it is, I'm wholesaling my product to Space NK. It's not my lemonade stand anymore. I'm selling it to Jen's lemonade stand. So I'm selling it at a wholesale price, and then you are going to mark that up and sell it at your retailer. It's a wholesale business.
Okay. So retailers are a wholesale business. That's how you talk about it.
Space NK is a multi-brand retailer.
Yes.
So they're wholesaling the product. What's happening now is Space NK in the UK, to my knowledge, will have nothing to do with the US wholesale arm. I'm saying to my knowledge. Yeah, it will have nothing to do. So Space NK in the US, as we know it, is going to look likely very different than as we know it today.
But they'll still be around. They're just owned by a different company.
Who knows what they're going to do with it? They've not shared PC has not shared any information.
But there's still Space NK stores in England and everything that are going to remain the same.
But that is a different business.
That's their retail business.
Yeah, that is their retail business, but they're also wholesalers. Yeah.
Ugh, okay. This is why we need business desk. I think I got it. But that's interesting. Okay, so we're going to see what happens to all of these points that people might have been finding Space NK throughout the United States. What's going to happen to them? I didn't even give you business desk music, but that was good. I am on a different beat this week. I'm on the Olympics beat. Do you get excited about the Olympics?
I get excited when I see the people so happy and their families cheering for them, but I do not relate to athletic moments because I'm very unathletic.
I don't think a lot of people relate to the athleticism. They're there for the spectacle. Like none of us are going to get to, vault like Suni Lee.
I guess I'm just like, oh my God. Yeah, I guess, I don't have to I'm not like a sports
You don't have to understand
person.
the sports to enjoy watching them. I know. But I get so into the whole, I don't know.
I cry in the opening
Olympics.
ceremony. Is that enough?
Then you're fine. You're into it. Yes.
Yeah.
But I have been waiting because it's every 4 years and beauty has blown up in the last 4 years or every 2 years now, but Summer Olympics, let's be honest, that's what we all care about. So I was like, ooh, what's going to be going on with the beauty contracts? I have the opportunity, so I am taking it.
Are you going to the Olympics?
No, I'm having a virtual meeting with Suni Lee because she is a Kiss ambassador. She always has great nails and lashes. She just brings a look. A lot of the gymnasts on the team do. So she's working with Kiss and representing their gel nails. So I was like, I will take this meeting. So I will report back when I hear. The other one that just came out, this huge campaign Milani is doing. I also just love when cosmetics companies work with athletes. I remember when that was still an original idea, not a model or celebrity.
It's very CoverGirl. CoverGirl
but
is
it's
one
so
of the first.
Awesome. It's just so awesome. So they're working with Jordan Childs, the gymnast, also WNBA pro Sabrina Ionescu, a volleyball player, Chiaka Ogbogu, and then a weightlifter, Maddie Rogers. I think she already won. She's a big time. I've definitely seen her name. Anyway, so all these champions are working with Milani. And I'm like, okay, let's see the face beat that you bring to the world stage with your Milani cosmetics.
I mean, there are a lot of close-ups.
Yeah, I know. That's the other thing. And they're crying, but that mascara didn't run. What mascara is that? I don't know.
I just feel like there's a lot of close-ups.
Way to make it not about sports, Jen. I don't know. I feel like we get to see into their world and just, I love all of it. So the Olympics are coming. Also coming, this is actually next week already. Black Honey is expanding. We all saw Clinique Black Honey since the 70s. I think it's been around, the Almost lipstick.
Wow.
Hugely viral product in the last few years. Looks good on everyone. Honestly, I never get sick of this color franchise. My very first department store went to the counter makeup was a Black Honey Almost lipstick. What was yours again? I want to say it was wait, can I guess?
What, my first department store lipstick color?
No, your department store purchase, where you went to the counter by yourself with your friendly's money.
Well, I would go with my mom before, my first department store was
okay, so she bought
Clinique
it.
three-step system.
Oh, it was? Oh,
yeah.
Okay. We both came in on Clinique. In my head, you got Chanel Vamp, but I don't know. Maybe I'm
No.
Anyway, they are now doing Pop Lip Cheek Oil. It's really cute. It's like a sheer
That sounds
glowy.
pretty.
And I'm also like, lip and cheek oil, that makes sense to me. You want a glowy, radiant cheek, a sheer glowy lip. I could see that being the same formula.
I like this idea of a monochromatic black honey look.
Right, right.
Beautiful.
And that's limited edition. There's also a high impact mascara, Black Honey mascara. I could see on your eyes, that would be so gorgeous.
Oh, I like this.
Yeah, like a little burgundy-ish
I'm
flash.
always rooting for Clinique. I feel like it's such a great brand and it feels very fresh. To me, it always feels fresh.
Yeah. I think these are really smart. Do we call these flankers if they're not fragrances?
I think these are cosmetic. They're makeup flankers. They're color flankers.
Color flanker.
Yeah.
You heard it here first. 2 new color flankers. Okay, back to this vacation party really briefly. Jess asked me off the mic. She was like, wait, what else happened? And I was like, oh, wait, I don't remember, because when I got there, they had like a signature drink. And I'm always like, oh, I'll take the signature drink. It was an espresso martini. Fine.
She only had one martini.
No, they had these like 1980s mugs, the kind of mugs you'd get at a conference that it just said business on one side. It's like a big beige mug. And they handed me the espresso martini in a coffee mug, Jess. And it was filled to the top. So I do remember one thing from the party though. And that was Dr. Elizabeth Hale was there. And she's on their board. She is a dermatological surgeon and also a dermatologist and works very closely with the Skin Cancer Foundation. Because, yeah, they took cute, fun products, but they also protect against skin cancer. Obviously, she got up, she didn't speak long, but this stuck with me. She said, we now know that because people are tanning again, she was like, more skin cancer is associated with tanning than lung cancer has ever been associated with smoking.
Oh, great. That's going to give people like, well, at least I'm not smoking.
Oh, no.
Cool.
But in my head, I think of like smoking kills, like, we have all these PSAs that we all learned. Smoking levels have gone down so much since we all learned how bad it was. I mean, I feel like everybody's family has been touched by somebody who got lung cancer who was also a smoker at some point.
Totally.
I mean, my family certainly was. But the fact that skin cancer outdoes those numbers because of tanning, like the tie between tanning and skin cancer is that strong. I was just like, if you don't need another stat to tell you not to
I feel like it's just because
unprotected.
more people go in the sun and smoke. You see what I mean? It's like everybody goes out in the sun. It's
of course. But everyone can also wear a long sleeve shirt or whatever. Yeah, I get it. Yes. But I still was like, those numbers are big. I don't know. Stay protected out there, however you choose to do it. All right. Shall we move on? I have one last thing to talk about. It's a science corner. Here's our music. I read the most fascinating story about a woman. Her name is Joy. She can smell diseases. So this is a story from the New York Times, the woman who could smell Parkinson's. She's a nurse. Her husband was a doctor. They were married a couple years. He came home one day and she noticed the smell on him, didn't think anything of it. Then he was having erratic behavior, goes on for like a decade or so. Eventually, he is diagnosed with Parkinson's. She did not make the connection at that point. However, she went with him. The story is beautifully written, by the way, and they also have like a narrated version. So if you're into like a podcast thing, I'll put the link in our show notes so you can listen to it. They went to a Parkinson's like caregivers and survivors sort of meeting. She walked in and she said she was like hit with this smell, and she remembered it from her husband from years ago, and it was everywhere.
Oh,
so
God.
It wasn't a bad smell. She's just like a super smeller. She has like this special ability. So she went to a conference and asked a doctor about it. They thought nothing of it. But then later they were like, what's up with that lady? Because we know that like dogs can smell certain diseases. And for hundreds of years, this is how doctors would diagnose things. Like smell was a big part of diagnosing. So we went back to her and built a study around her. They did a pilot study and they had people with Parkinson's and people without it wear T-shirts. They cut them in half, split them apart, had her smell everything. The 6 people who had Parkinson's, she identified correctly. She could pair the T-shirts together. But one of the people that didn't have Parkinson's, she said in the study, does have Parkinson's. So they were like, okay, maybe it's not foolproof what she does. Cut to years later, maybe 2 years later, she saw one of the study participants because she had gotten to know them. She's in the medical field. And they said, guess what? I'm now part of the other side of the study. I do have Parkinson's. So she hadn't been wrong. She had smelled it before it even was diagnosed. Yes. Questions? Or was that the hand stop?
No. I'm just thinking like, what?
Wow. What does this mean?
No, is it almost like being psychic, or does she just have, like, what does she have?
They go on to do a bunch more studies with her, and they use chemical analysis with her, and they're able to find eventually that she's not wrong. There are 3 molecules in the sebum of people with Parkinson's that are at elevated levels, sometimes years before they're even diagnosed with the disease. So the writer who wrote this actually went to go visit her, and he said it was so interesting to be in her presence because he was like, she can smell other diseases too, by the way. He was like so nervous that what if she smelled something on him? Like, okay, you're going to develop Parkinson's. Would she tell him? She said she doesn't ever tell people. But the reason that she did all this research and the reason that this is beneficial is because researchers want to know what an early marker is for this disease. There aren't yet cures. They're thinking they might be able to get them in treatment sooner. But more so now that they've realized it's these 3 molecules that are elevated, they're now doing research to find out, like, okay, what is it in the body that elevates these 3 molecules so that someday this trigger that she found can actually be turned into more treatments for Parkinson's disease. So someday you might get screened for Parkinson's when you're younger, but that wouldn't be scary because you'd also then be able to start treatment sooner, all because of this woman's hyperosmia, her unique ability to smell like everything.
That's not something I would want. I would not want. Like, it's almost like
being clairvoyant.
Yeah, I mean, that must be so horrible. Imagine being around like somebody you love or
just walking around and you see somebody and know that they have the marker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's horrible. That's a horrible story.
She is a very positive person. Her husband has since passed away from Parkinson's, but like, think about what she's been able to do for science. Like, her legacy could be, this was the thing that sent them down the correct path of research to do treatment. I was so fascinated by the whole story because it was so well written, but also just this idea that there are super smellers out in the world. And I don't know. I think you should read it. But I also just summarized it for you, so maybe now you don't
I think I'm
to.
good. Thanks.
But if our listeners are interested in hyperosmia, or you think you have a little bit of that ability, it can be trained to be better at it. So check out that piece, and I will link to it.
You ever heard the story about the cats in like the nursing homes, or like the cat who like knows when someone's going to die?
Yeah. Well, they even talk about that. I mean, dogs have been trained to sniff COVID now. Like, we are animals. We have that good a sense of smell. I just wrote a piece about who gets headaches from fragrance. And I was talking to people at the Monell Chemical Center in Philadelphia. We are that good. We just sort of are separated from that sense because we live in this artificial world. But we all do have an amazing ability to smell. And it just, you have to work on it just to know what you're smelling. So I don't know. I think it's so cool. Let's take a break, shall we? And then we'll raise some wine.
Okay, everyone, it's time to raise a wand. We have a great one from Hannah. Thank you so much for this very specific tailor-made raise a wand. It's already in my cart.
Hi, Jess and Jen. This is Hannah in Orlando. This is very much not a beauty product, but both times I was pregnant, had extreme morning sickness. I'm prone to nausea anyway, and Pink Stork sells morning sickness sweets, I think is what they're called. They are like a ginger lozenge, and it's ginger and mango. They're extremely good. I had so many ginger chews my first pregnancy, I got kind of sick of that very sickly sweet ginger flavor. These lozenges are so yummy. They're the perfect size. They take a while to digest. They're ginger and vitamin B, so they actually, I think it's B6, so they actually address the nausea as well as just managing the symptoms. I would go through bags and bags of these. I never got sick of them. Anyway, they are better, good for more than just pregnancy. I would highly recommend if Jess is dealing with nausea. Anyway, hope that helps. I found them at Target. I think they're available in a wide variety of places, including online. Good luck.
All right. So I have a raise a wand today, Jen.
Wait, we got to tell people to call in.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Go ahead and give the phone number.
I'll never know it. Just email us.
I'll never know it.
Info. I don't remember. I can't.
I'll never even try to know it. I'll never know it.
I don't even know my husband's phone number. Okay.
Really? Oh, okay. All right. I feel better then.
I have it written down on a paper.
Okay. I will give it to you. I would love to hear some beauty questions from you guys. Ask us anything. AMA. I will be playing answers to them because people have been starting to leave questions, but I really want to hear, do you have a beauty question? Do you have a product you want us to try? We will do a little review of it for you. Do you have a beauty conundrum you need help with? Do you want to know where Jess takes her cat to the vet in Hoboken so that you can go there too?
We never found a vet in Hoboken.
Do you want to know why Jess goes back to Manhattan to get her cat taken care of? Do you want to know what Wolfgang's favorite treat is? Yeah, I don't know. Ask us anything. Call us 646-481-8182. It's linked in the show notes. Or just email us and I'll read your little email. I made it sound so quaint. I'll read your important message, info@fatmascara.com.
I also would be interested if you just like have a question about beauty or you just want to like have a discussion.
Oh, yeah, that's what I meant originally. And then I went off on the tangent about
You know
the
what
animals.
I mean?
But
Like
yeah.
what's going on with
Things you're seeing in the culture, trends you're curious about.
I like love to listen to the Q&A episode of Dumois where it's just like, hey, what's going on with Jake Gyllenhaal? We haven't seen any photos of him like in 2 months. I can't give you that kind of information, but I would love to know if like, are you wondering about a brand? Are you curious about a founder? I'm probably not going to give you low down dirty gossip.
That's for our other podcast, Rat Mascara, that we haven't started yet.
That's on ice.
That's when we're 65 and we don't care.
Have nothing,
when we
nothing
enter
left to
our
lose.
golden years and we're like, lay it all down. That's Rat Mascara. But yeah, call us with questions or just thoughts on the beauty industry in general. You're part of the show. Call us. You ready to wave some wands?
Wave some wands?
What do you got?
Yeah. So I am like a strong believer that you cannot go back when it comes to fragrances. It's like you can't go home again with so many things in life.
It ran its course.
I think a lot of things, you just like, it's a chapter.
And this is why fragrance companies have trouble in their business because you wore it once, never again.
You know, that's a really funny full circle moment. I do believe in repeat purchases with fragrances that you love, but I'm going way back, okay?
It's tied with a time period in your life that has now ended.
Yes.
Talk to me.
So I'm talking about a fragrance that I wore in 1997, okay? Or 1998. I got an email from the PR for Lolita Lempicka, and it was like, Lolita Lempicka. Some people say Lolita Lempicka. I don't. You guys let me know what the right one is. But I was obsessed with this fragrance. This fragrance has a real cult following. It came out around the same time as Terry Mugler's Angel. It's a hardcore, smother you with a pillow gourmand. It has licorice. That's another word I can't say. You know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to say it. I think it has cherry. It smells like a fairy Barbie garden. And a campaign I liked at the time. I was nuts for this fragrance. And I probably bought 3 or 4 bottles in my lifetime. And then I had to put it to bed. I even had the roll on. I even bought like the ancillary body products. Like that's how crazy I was for this, okay? But I had to put it to bed. And then it was like not me anymore, very tied to like years. And then when I saw this release, I said like, yeah, I'd love to try it. Now, if you go on like fragrance pages, they will tell you that they're like fragrance blogs. They will tell you that there are a million different reformulations. It's not the original. It smells pretty close. I've worn it out a few times. It feels like a different, like I can wear it and it feels a little young for me, I'll be honest. But it also it depends on your mood, depends what you're wearing. I've liked it.
Okay. In the summer, and you're wearing it in the heat in the summer.
1 spritz, maybe 2 spritz max.
Because it's a decadent fragrance for sure.
Yeah. But what do you think about this idea of going back?
Does it, when you put it on, are you channeling a little bit of Jess energy from that era? Like there,
no.
'Cause sometimes I think like I used to be so much more adventurous. Maybe if I put back on that fragrance,
No,
I'll
because
be
I'm
more
like
adventurous.
wearing it out like
As myself now.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like you're it's almost like when people like remodel something or retailer something. It's a nod to, but it's not like putting on a costume.
Yeah, I think of that silly fashion advice that it was in every magazine we've ever worked for, where it was like, if you tried the fashion trend the first time around, you're not allowed to wear it the second.
Yeah.
Meaning you're too old for it now. And I don't think it applies. And I don't think it applies to fragrance either. I like this idea.
Yeah, I think you have to know what you're looking for going into it. If I were going to put it on and be like, okay, I'm going to try to be that no, that's a bit.
No, but it is quite a timely scent. Now, gourmands are having a huge merit. The cherry, there's been a lot of cherry pistachio.
That's what I mean.
It gives that. It was juicy, but there was a cloak to it. I don't know how to describe it, but there's
a little bit of a darkness. Yeah, there's
there was a darkness. Oh, it was like twisted a little. Yeah. It was twisted gourmand.
Yeah,
twisted.
Yeah, that's what I liked about it.
Yeah, no, I could totally see that vibe for you. Oh, Lolita Lampica. Little purple golden apple. I totally remember it.
It's demented.
Raise your wand to that, you little witchy thing, you. I like it.
What's your raise a wand?
Well, I'm raising a wand to a brand's entire category of cheek.
Ooh.
And that is, but one specifically, Haus Labs. So,
I thought you were going to do the new road. I was like, oh, she's still going to talk about road.
I'm writing about that for the cut for next week.
Okay.
You can see all of my thoughts.
I want to try Piggy. Just the name. I love Piggy.
Cute names. Yeah. No, blush is huge. Well, blush is huge. This is also, actually, this speaks to what I'm about to raise a wand to.
It's the moment.
So when Anissa, the brush manufacturer, was on the podcast, I know you weren't here for that, but if you remember, she said Haus Labs blushes. I was like, all the blushes, she's like, they're the best blushes. And I was like, Anissa knows her shit. I got to go get me some of these.
What's the formula?
So it's just a powder blush. So I first got the powder blush. The pigment load on it is fabulous. If you are like, my face eats blush, you can never show up, the powders are great. However, the publicist reached out because there was a new product. So I was like, oh, maybe she'll give me this product. So I tried the powder blushes. They're great. I can attest. I would have raised a wand to it, sure. But then this is what I'm raising a wand to instead. They just launched, okay, here's the name. Color Fuse Longwear Hydrating Glassy Lip Plus Cheek Blush Balm Stick.
Are they kidding?
That is the name. However, it lives up to all of that stuff. It is amazing. It looks like a cream blush, but it has this sheer radiant quality to it so that it looks great on lips and cheeks. And I was like, this is too dewy and fresh. There is no way it's going to last.
I want dewy and fresh.
And it lasts. It stays. And there's a nice pigment load. Some of the deeper shades, if you have dark skin, they will pop. I was like, the radiance won't the gloss comes down a little over time, but the color absolutely stays. They're beautiful, all of them.
Don't you feel like Haus Labs has not gotten its credit? And I say this as somebody who's not I'm not wearing Haus Labs right now, but I feel like they keep coming up with people who know what they're talking about, but they're not coming up with some of the, and I'm saying this among my brethren, they're not coming up with some of the editors. They're not coming up with some of the influencers. Am I wrong, though? I could be really wrong.
No, and I think it's because I remember they launched and then there was a bit of a relaunch and they reformulated some and they doubled down on the skincare technology and the color products and they got away from Lady Gaga a little because honestly, I don't need Lady Gaga to be part of the story because the products are that good.
The product, I think the product, if
it is
Haus Labs folks, if you're listening, I'm not saying that you're not resonating with editors and influencers. No. You are you have a massive following.
But they're these little sleeper hits that keep
That's
popping
what I mean.
Off that people are like, have you heard about? Have you heard about?
That's what I mean. It's there's so much buzz, but it's not breaking the internet.
But it's lasting quality. And whoever's formulating over there, the people who have been talking about it to me are always product developers, brush manufacturer, lipstick lesbians who know their stuff better than anyone. People who know color cosmetics know these are good formulas.
Yeah. It's the color products I'm always hearing about.
They are good. People like the foundation too. I haven't tried that. But in general, the blushes from Haus Labs, whew.
I need a lot of staying power lately.
That's what I'm saying. These stay.
I need products that stay. There's a lot of appetite right now, I think, at the same time for products that are dewy, wispy.
Dewy fresh.
Yeah. But that's still a real thing. I'm not making fun. But there's also my face eats makeup.
And with blush being so big, you want it dewy fresh, but you also want it to stay. If that's the focus of your look because your eye's a little subtle or your lips subtle and you're really going for blush, then you want it to be there the whole day. These are so good. They're so good.
Okay, great. Raise a wand.
Raise a bunch of wands. Raise all the wands. And then call us and ask us questions. Give us your opinion on the beauty world. 646-481-8182. Keep listening on Spotify so you can comment underneath where it says, what did you think of this episode? I love all the little comments we're getting there, and we publish them so you can see that published on Spotify. Your other homework for this week is to get your beauty sleep. Everybody.
So important.
Be like Karl Lagerfeld. fall asleep thinking about the delicious breakfast and coffee that you're going to have when you wake up.
We hope you enjoyed the show.
It's your reviews and feedback that help us make the podcast even better. Head over to iTunes to rate and review us, or email your thoughts to info@fatmascara.com.
We also want to answer your beauty questions and hear what products you love. To share a Razor One product review or to ask a beauty question, email us at info@fatmascara.
If you send it as a voice memo file, we can even share your voice on the podcast. You can also do that by leaving us a voice message. Our phone number in the United States is 646-481-8182.
Thanks so much for listening.